Recording.
Okay.
It's like we outnumber them by one.
Let's call the January meeting of the West Dakota Water Development District Board to order. And the first thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the wonderful holidays and the spirit that surrounded everyone. Thank you for this cold winter, to remember how good summer just is and not to complain when it's hot in the summer. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you want to mention where the restroom is?
Oh, yeah. Since this is a new place, this is our second time here. The bathroom there is where that open door is. And you need to go, feel free. Thank you.
You see it push out my phone now. That's why there seems to be a little knob on the side of there. I don't think you push the silence. I can't find the silence button. You just push one and give me like a silence button. Push down.
I'm pushing down.
No, that you pushing in. It's got a little.
Oh, you got to push it.
There's a little. You got to find. It's got a little piece you push down. It's silence button. It's not those where you shut it off with.
You didn't find it. Silence.
There's a silence.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Roll call?
Roll call first. Yeah, missed one. Roll call first.
Roll call Coe,
Yes?
Bierke,
Here?
Driscoll, Jovic,
Yes.
Williams,
Here.
Mack,
Here.
Violata,
Here.
Harris.
Here.
All present, we have a quorum.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Okay, then, the next item is the approval of the agenda.
I have an addition, and that would be on number 5. You might want to put December 10th instead of November 12th,
Oh,
just to keep that.
approval of the minutes from, okay, any other items? It was December 10th?
Yes.
Any other items on the agenda that need to,
I'm
corrections?
not sure how to silence that either.
Okay. Is there a motion for approval of the,
Move to approve.
motion on the floor for approval? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nathan. Any discussion?
Is the motion to approve as amended, I would assume?
Motion to approve as amended?
Yes.
Yes. In the second. So the motion is to approve the minutes as amended. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 6 is the conflict of interest disclosure, which is in the packet. If any board members have any items on the agenda that they feel they have a conflict of interest,
We didn't approve the minutes yet. We just approved the agenda.
oh, I'm moving too fast. It must be the cold weather. Going backwards. Item 5, approval of the minutes from the December 10th meeting.
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Dan Driscoll, second.
Second.
Seconded by Steve Rollinger. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. That was item 5. Item 6, conflict of interest, which is, the language is included in the packet. If there's any items on the agenda that any board members have a conflict of interest, please indicate now.
I have a question. Is 15 going to be a voting item? Or, I'm sorry, 13.
Yes, it is.
In what way will we be voting?
In what way we'll be voting?
Yeah. Because there's not a dollar amount on there.
There's not gonna be it's not gonna be a dollar amount this evening. It's just approving the inquiry that the city is proposing for us participating in the stormwater management plan, which we can talk about when we get there. Yes, Nathan?
Mr. Chair, I've got a question. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time to ask, but since we're talking about conflict of interest disclosure, could we get a resolution to whether or not Director Driscoll has any continued affiliation with USGS, to know if that is we were told last time,
Yes.
during the last board meeting, that he was going to terminate that employment at the end of last month.
That's what he said. Is there?
That has ended, and I have no current status with USGS.
Okay.
And is there any kind of waiting period or anything that you need to have?
For what?
A lot of times retired federal employees can't be involved in anything associated with their former work environment for a period of time, like 2 years.
I'm aware of nothing of those sorts.
Okay.
It was in the form you signed, the ethics disclosure.
Could you repeat that?
It's in the ethics disclosure that you signed with USGS that says you cannot work with or for or against anyone that's taking business with USGS for a period of 2 years.
I guess I'm missing what you're trying to tell me.
I think you should read your ethics disclosure again that you signed.
I don't have it memorized, I'm sorry. Anyhow, I have no conflicts to disclose.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Seeing none. Moving on to election of officers. This will we do in the January meeting. Dan Mullally, he sent me an email. Last year when we went through the nominations for the different positions, officers, we nominated somebody for chairman, somebody for vice chairman, somebody for secretary, somebody for treasurer, and then we voted after that for that whole slate of officers. But Dan was suggesting that maybe this year we should just handle one at a time in case, for example, if there's 2 or 3 nominees for the chairperson, we can deal with that, and then those people would be, the ones that weren't successful would be eligible for the other offices. And I think that's a good idea. Is there any objection to doing that?
Can you clarify that again, please?
I'm suggesting that we just do one at a time, so we'll have nominations for the chairman, we'll vote on that first, and then we'll move on to the vice chair and so on.
Good. Could I, Mr. Chairman, could I interject something here?
Sure.
We've got basically 2 caucuses that sit on this board, and you have a tough time hearing me, Ron?
I'm having a hard time. I don't know, it's just the
Hearing-
air conditioner right now, I think.
We can move that mic a bit.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Test.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that better?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So basically, we've got 2 different voting caucuses, it seems like, that sit on the board here. And currently, the board officers are made up of entirely one of those caucuses. It would seem fair to me to have a member of the other voting caucus on that sit as an officer on the board. So we've got 3 positions here, so my recommendation is that we get one of those positions filled by a member of the other voting caucus. Now, I know you guys can override that, and that's certainly, your pleasure to do that if you so wish. But I think in the interest of fairness, I think it would be a good idea to have a member of the other voting caucus as an officer. So,
I'll make one comment, I was on the other, since you're using that term caucus, I was, when I first came on the board, and we did, I don't think any one of us were nominated for any of those positions, and being one of them. So I don't.
Nobody nominated you from your caucus?
Not when it was 7-2. I think that's what you're getting at, and so I don't look at it that way myself. But I'm just telling you what my
so you look
experience
at
was.
this as payback then, I guess?
It's not payback. I'm just, you were on the board then, and I didn't ask for that. I just figured, just let it fall where it falls.
Okay.
So
I'm
we'll
voicing my opinion.
That's fine.
Which is, I don't remember hearing that at that time. So I think we would have listened to whatever voices came forward at that time. So
Anyway,
okay, thank you.
okay, so the first position is the chairperson. It's open for nominations.
I'll nominate Director Bierke to serve another term as the chair.
Is there another any other nominations?
I'd nominate Thomas Mack to be chair.
Any other nominations? We have 2 so far. Seeing none, we're going to do the voting by ballot like we did last time. So Dan will pass those out.
Obviously, you're filling out
Just
one.
just tear it off.
If you want, you can turn it off. You might have enough.
Usually, the election after those votes, after the new people come on.
Yeah, that'll be next year. No.
That's usually when you do it, each city council, that. Just how they were doing it. You're the only one, so why are you doing?
No, Tom Mack. There's 2. Yeah, there's 2. There's Tom Mack and myself.
To me, please.
Pass them down to Dan.
Who we can pass them to? Don't
You gotta rip it off, Dan.
Huh?
You gotta rip it off. That's your vote
just
for all
do it.
3.
Oh,
We're saving money.
I got you. I'll do that for you too then.
Put 20 on.
That's how you do it. Okay. Should I rip that up? Are you voting or not? No, you didn't. This is yours. Okay.
There's some more, I already told you.
Well, we got to rip this off here.
I just folded it over.
Yeah, here. I'll just do this for you. You got to vote on that one.
I voted on every piece you got.
This is what the chair right there. Down to Dan. Has everybody passed them down here for the chair?
I only got 3 so far.
Just more.
So I'm using my pocket. Gotta go out to my car, get it out of the trunk.
You got enough?
Yep, got them all. Just double check.
Yerke wins
Oh, This is
6
the
to
next one.
3.
I didn't hear what he said.
Yerke 6 to 3.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next office is to take nominations for vice chairperson.
I'd like to nominate Bob Williams.
Bob Williams. Is there any other nominations for Ron?
I'll nominate Director Mack, our current vice chairman, again.
Okay, Tom Mack. Any other nominations? Looks like two then. We go ahead and vote on the vice chair. It's Bob Williams. And those here. And Tom Mack.
Bob, you can't vote 5 times for yourself.
Can't cancel out anybody. Okay, Mack wins 6 to 3.
Okay.
Vice chair.
Thank you. Next office is the secretary's position. Are there any nominations for secretary? Tom?
I nominate Linda Harris.
Okay, Linda Harris. Is any other nominations for secretary position? Seeing none, the nomination closes, so I guess we don't even vote on that one. You're in. There's only one candidate for that, so that would be her position. That brings us to the office of treasurer. Are there any nominations for treasurer?
I'd like to nominate James Bialotta.
James Bialotta. Dan?
I'll nominate Steve Rollinger for another term.
Okay, Steve Rollinger. Are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate Mr. Williams.
Williams. Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the treasurer. This is the treasurer. Did you hear who did? You're up. Bob Williams and James Bialotta. So there's three up.
Bob, you done?
I was just waiting for everybody else to come down.
Is everybody passed?
Some
Yeah,
came
I
off.
missed it.
Oh, okay.
I got 5, so. 6, there's 9. Okay, Rollinger has a majority of 5. Bialotta has 3, Williams has 2.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations to those officers for this year. That brings us to item number 8, designate official newspaper for this year. Rapid City Journal, Hill City Prevailer, and the Wall Current. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Ron,
Second.
seconded by James. It was a tie, but I'll go with James. Any discussion?
I'd like to,
That's Nathan.
is there a minimum number of newspapers that,
No.
so we have to have one, I would assume?
I believe we have to have one, minimum one. Is that right, Dan?
Correct.
Yeah.
If there's no number that's really given.
What's the cost to us when we publish our agendas and whatnot?
Well, we don't publish agendas. The only thing that we really have to publish is the budget prior to the budget meeting. And it has to be published twice, although it's not clear that we have to publish the entire budget. So I guess going by last year, it was relatively expensive because I put the whole budget in. I think the Rapid City Journal was around $500. However, after talking to Jay Gilbertson, he said we should probably scale it back quite a bit. So I would guess it comes out to probably a few hundred if we do it that way for the next time.
It sounds to me like that's the way to go. If they're doing that back there, we should probably be doing it here too. Not putting the full budget in.
Right. If you read the requirement, wasn't clear, and that's the way the previous admin had done it too.
Okay.
So I kind of carried on with that, but I don't think that. I think that was overkill.
Any other discussion? Anything else, Nathan?
Well, I'm just going to voice my displeasure with the Rapid City Journal. I think they've had some corrupt reporting in regard to this board in the past. I'd rather not throw them any business if we didn't have to. But I understand that, the purpose of this is to inform the public.
Right.
I guess I'd be curious to know, how many people we actually reach through the Rapid City Journal. I know most of my neighbors don't get it, so
I got to correct myself. We also will publish the annual meeting schedule, so just to be thorough, that will be a cost also. We decided that the last.
So overall,
annual meeting.
about how much did we spend in 2019 for newspapers?
I think it was total about 700. I could look it up if you like.
I was just curious.
I'm, off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
One nay from Nathan.
Could I get who made the motion and seconded?
I made the
Ron
motion.
both made the motion, and who was the second? James Bylaw. Okay, that moves us to item number 9, the treasurer's report from Administrator Mullally.
Okay. So just to summarize, last year, the total revenue was about 208,000, and about not quite 1,000, I believe, was interest, so we brought in more than we expected from the levy, so I suspect that's from past year's taxes. Total expenditures in 2019 was about 143,000. So this year, projected revenue based on our levy request is about 211,000. Our funds on hand are about 528,000. And we haven't spent anything yet, really, so nothing else to report there. The project sheet here, we have unpaid obligations of about 42,000 from stream gauges, water quality monitoring of Canyon Lake, and the $5,000 septic grant. And a little bit left from possibly from the Deerfield Pactola model, although they said they may be under what their bid was, so I'm not sure if we're going to pay that full amount. So that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Is there a motion for approval?
Motion.
Motion by Nathan, seconded by James. Now, is there any discussion on the treasurer's report?
Hey, Dan,
Yeah.
I'd like to go back and have the election for treasurer over. I want to step down because since I've had the stroke, I can't walk and I can't drive, and Dan will call sometimes and say, hey, Steve, can you come down here, sign a check? I can't just get in my car and drive down. I have a left side deficit, so I can't see so good to my left. So I think it's only fair that some way they can do all that, can see better, can drive, and can take care of business would be better than me. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's finish this item on the treasurer's report first, and then we'll go back and redo the election for the treasurer, if that's okay by everybody. I don't see any discussion on the treasurer's report, so all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And could I get who made that motion again?
Nathan, seconded by James. Okay, well, thank you, Steve. So we're going to reopen the nominations then for treasurer and redo that vote. So is there any nominations for treasurer?
I would like to nominate Bob Williams for treasurer.
Bob Williams, is there any other nominations for treasurer? Seeing none? Oh, you have another?
I'd like to nominate James Bylaw.
Okay, James Bylaw. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Seeing none, then we'll go ahead and vote.
We have the secretary's blank and we can use.
If you want to just
We might
cross
as well
out
save
secretary.
paper, right? Just write treasurer on there.
Treasurer number 2.
We can vote on that one. Bob Williams or James Bylaw.
Okay, Williams has 6 votes, Bilotta has 3, so William wins
Okay,
for treasurer.
thank you. Congratulations, Bob. All right, thanks for bringing that up, Steve. Appreciate that. So moving on to item number 10, amendment by Article 4, Section 1 to specify 7 meetings per year rather than 12 meetings per year as per the verbiage in the packet. 2/3 of vote required. Tom, this is your item.
Okay, so we had talked about in our December 2019 meeting to switch back from 12 to 7. Here is the general text in the packet, and then below that is the proposed text. People can read that. If they want me to, I can read the proposed bylaw change if wished, but I am suggesting that we approve the bylaw change.
Is there a motion for approval? Move to approve. Moved by Steve Rollinger. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Nathan. Now, open for discussion. Seeing none, is there, James?
I was just gonna ask, is there anything we're gonna add in there so we don't have midnight meetings?
No,
Because
we
it
don't.
seems real easy when there's a
No, we don't.
a light agenda.
Here,
We get one of these 22 item agendas with multiple people requiring votes. And it's gonna take some time.
Well, I think Nathan has his hand up, so I think
Oh, go
he
ahead,
might
Nathan.
answer.
I was just going to comment that we looked at the numbers during our last meeting, right? And it looked like they were fairly comparable
they were.
in the meeting time between when we were doing 7 meetings a year versus 12 meetings a year.
Yep.
So it just seems like it doesn't really matter how many times we meet. We're still going to be here a while, so. I guess the way that I look at it is if we can accomplish the business that we need to accomplish in 7 and save the taxpayers money on the directors getting together 5 times in that year, then that's a win for us.
Any other comments?
Dan?
Yes, then.
We do have an agreement with this facility that we can only be here till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Because they do have staff that come in and lock up behind us, so.
So hook or by crook, 10 o'clock. So at 9:55, we got to adjourn, and everyone else will have to get kicked to the next meeting.
To the next.
Or we would have to we'd have to realize what's going on, and if we need to have another meeting, we have that ability.
Yeah, we can call it another meeting, special meeting anytime, actually.
How late were we here last time?
Pardon me?
How late were we here last
I
month?
think we finished about 9:30.
Okay, because
I think it was just before 9:30.
that staff member was here waiting for us, so.
He thought we were supposed to be done at 9, and I double-checked the agreement, and it is 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. Good to know.
So do you want to put that in the bylaws? I assume we're going to stay in this facility for some
I
time.
think this is working pretty good.
Okay. And I have another question on that strike through in red that is on our, you want to make sure that doesn't show up in the language? I mean, just taking the strike through out of there.
Are you talking about that provided that?
Provided that. Just a language change.
Yeah. Any problem with that, do you, Tom?
No.
Okay. Seeing no more discussion, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 11.
This is a 2/3 vote, but just to let you know.
Sounds like it was unanimous.
Before we had roll call on those. But
You want to do a roll call?
no, I'm fine.
Okay.
Just wanted to mention that.
Looked to me like it was unanimous. Item number 11, approve the 2020 annual meeting schedule. Thomas?
Okay, it's me again. So here is the proposed schedule with the 7 meetings. As you can see, today is our annual meeting. We'll have a regular meeting March 10th, May 12th, July 14th. August 11th will be our budget meeting. Another regular meeting on October 13th, December 8th, and then the meeting that would be next year at this time would be January 12th. And here is a rough outline. And I suggest that we take a motion to approve.
Are you moving that?
I move to approve the proposed meeting schedule for 2020.
Seconded by Steve Rollinger. Any discussion? James?
In the past, they have dodged Rally Week for good reason. I would just suggest we move it to the third Tuesday of that month. The rally.
No, I'm just thinking
For
since we're in
August.
here, when does the Central States Fair start up? Because then this building would be needed for that.
That's a good point.
And that's something that they
it's
did
in-
bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was thinking that, I think the fair comes after, so she thought with our tentatively August 11th, we'd be okay.
Let me look at the Central States Fair schedule is.
Nathan?
I think Director Driscoll had his hand up, but I had a
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. That
quick
is not-
question. Would anybody have a conflict with that if it was held during Rally Week? Any of the directors?
I won't. Dan?
My thought is that the fair would be much more of a impedance than the rally, and we should stick with what we've got.
Okay.
The fair starts the 21st of August, which would be, if the 21st is the third Friday of the month in August, which is what we've normally done, the third Tuesday, to dodge the rally week, when the rally week starts on a off week. Yeah, it would be Tuesday the 18th. The Central States Fair doesn't start till the 21st.
But she informed us that typically a week or two out, they start setting up things in
Well,
this
even-
room and the adjacent room.
Then the 11th would be no good. We'll have to set it for the first week of the month, because the week before that is the 11th.
Did you discuss that with the?
She had just mentioned it, and she said that she would find out for sure, as
Because if they need the week before the fair starts, that's the 11th.
Dan?
I might suggest that we just approve this, and if it's not going to work, you can change it.
That's a good idea. I think
That's the only item we're probably not going to find out tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and vote on it then. All in
Can you
favor?
make that part of the motion, Mr. Chairman? Put that in as part of the motion so that we capture that.
So who?
I made the motion, so I will suggest a substitute motion to approve the agenda pending the August date upon research of finding out if the building is available on the 11th or another time that would work for the directors to meet for that August budget meeting, either before or after the 11th or on the 11th if that is our only option.
I'd second that motion.
Okay, so substitute motion, seconded by Bob Williams.
And I would like to make a comment. I'm sorry, Dan, because that was long-winded, and I apologize.
So short.
You
Is
going
there
to law
any-
school?
No, but I hung out with a lot of people during grad school, so that's probably.
Is there any discussion on the substitute motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 13, approval of inquiry concerning.
You skipped 12 again.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're moving along too quick.
let me get out of
That's
here.
the problem.
We're on a
All right,
schedule.
back to 12, sorry. Designate chair and appoint a committee. Good idea to negotiate a new annual contract with the administrator for April. Tom? You know-
So, as I made the motion back in December of 2019 to negotiate the contract with Dan M., part of the agreement we did back in March of 2019, we didn't form a committee to actually negotiate with Dan. So I am suggesting or moving to create a committee to negotiate the contract to have a proposal for the board at the March meeting.
Any volunteers?
Is this a-
Dan?
is this
I'll
a
second
motion?
and suggest Thomas Mack to chair the committee.
Okay, I would say we want to have at least 3 members.
Bob, being the treasurer, do you want to be on there?
Sure.
Bob?
I'll do it.
Okay, that's 2. Is there one more? Linda?
Secretary.
I'll
All
do
right.
it.
We can have 4 if we think we need 4, but
I don't want to get too close.
Could somebody give me those again?
Thomas
Thomas
Mack.
is the
Williams
proposed
and Linda
chair,
Harris.
and Bob and Linda as committee members.
I think it'd be appropriate to have the treasurer at that meeting.
He is the treasurer.
Yep.
Bob's
Is that
going to
Bob's?
be
Okay.
the, yeah, the treasurer will be the money man.
All right.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Now, moving on to 13. Approval of inquiry concerning interest in project partnership between the City of Rapid City and West Dakota Water Development District concerning stormwater management. Dan, this one.
So, before I make a motion, I'll just have a couple minutes of background that Director Bierke and I have been in discussion on several occasions with staff from the Rapid City Public Works Department Engineering Division, regarding possibilities to partner on various sorts of stormwater management projects. Basically where those discussions led us, that the city's preference as a starting point was to basically partner with them on an update of their stormwater management plan. And, I guess to me, the planning end of it does make good sense. So I guess in your packet, I've included, or I drafted a letter, their letter basically requesting, their letter requested a statement of interest, and that we would appoint a director or two to work with them to work out details, on this project. So their letter is on page 17 and 18, and at the top of page 19, I have drafted a letter, suggesting that Director Bierke and myself would work with the city staff to come up with the details on a proposed project to partner with them on an update to their stormwater management plan. So basically, I'm in a move that we would proceed with the letter I've drafted, and presuming that there would be a second for that motion, I would ask that before we engage in discussion, we would first hear from the people from Rapid City in terms of their perspective on it. I also see this as having benefit to Pennington County Planning Department, Planning and Zoning Department, and that they're in charge of they're also what's called an MS4 entity, an EPA term for entities that are required to have stormwater management responsibilities, and I see this as having, basically benefit to the county. So I'd like to hear from them, before we would entertain our own discussion. So that's my motion, would be to go forward with the letter that I've drafted.
Okay, I'll second the motion for discussion
Okay,
purposes.
for discussion.
And,
You'll direct your stone first.
well, what's that?
Direct your stone first, you can answer my questions.
Okay.
I have some questions for him. How you doing, sir?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
I'm James Violata. You might remember me.
Yep, my name is Dan Kuhn. I'm the Assistant Public Works Director
Hey, hold on.
for the City of Rapid City, just to introduce myself to everyone.
I have some questions for you.
Okay,
Is this going to be asking for funds from this board in the future?
that will be decided if there is interest from this board. what the scope is, how much the participation is. Those are all the things that we're asking to just sit down and talk about.
Okay, well, let me get right to the point. Rapid City Stormwater is a taxing entity in its own, collecting more than $2 million annually. Correct?
That's correct.
We collect $200,000 a year, and from my lack of experience, or plenty of experience, I see that you're not managing that fund well, seeing how many houses did you flood with stormwater and sewer water this year?
I believe there were sewer backups reported in about 42 homes in Rapid City.
42 that made it to your desk, or 42 that made it to the...
42 that were reported.
Okay, because by your own numbers, did you realize that you missed some of those homes that were counted twice at your own meeting?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay, because one of them I pointed out to you was mine, that you acknowledged the second flooding
Mr.
and did
Chairman,
not report to the EPA.
The question on the floor is...
I'm
are you
sorry, sir, the
interested?
director has the floor.
Okay.
You have failed to notify the EPA, which I informed them, of flooding of Rapid City home residents with sewer water, which is a violation of the EPA standards and fixing of your own standards to fall below the 1% minimum. Because I have over 90 plaintiffs right now that claim they did inform the city of Rapid City of sewer water backup, which is why I wanted to know what your number you think is. And right now, I would not support any funding from a taxing entity that collects $2 million, including from churches, hospitals, and schools, which are normally not taxed, and then taking taxpayer dollars further for projects that you're behind on yourself. Thank you. I yield my time now.
Okay, just a reminder, we're talking about, you're talking about wastewater, and we're talking, this is proposed for...
Same program. The stormwater runoff collects $2 million
I know that.
from Rapid City taxpayers.
But it doesn't do any, it's not,
Annually.
it doesn't deal with their sanitary sewer system. We're talking about stormwater drainage.
They do when there is no stormwater and it runs into the sanitary sewer.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I specifically asked that we hear first from the city on their perspective on this, and then from the county on their perspective before we enter discussion. So I would like
Okay.
to have that request honored if we may.
Okay, yes, go ahead, Dan.
Again, my name is Dan Kuhn. I'm the Assistant Public Works Director for the City of Rapid City. We're currently working on several items related to stormwater or specifications or design criteria. And we thought, well, now would be a good time to look at our stormwater management plan. They're all somewhat intertwined and interrelated. And so we are aware that this board, their mission statement is to protect stormwater or protect water quality within the district. And since the citizens of Rapid City are also members of this district, we thought it would be a positive thing to see if you were interested in partnering on updating our stormwater management plan. We feel it's a very positive thing for people within this district and for the citizens of Rapid City to help with stormwater quality within the city. And as was mentioned, Pennington County also adopts the city's stormwater management plan. So it would be something that would benefit citizens throughout Pennington County and Rapid City. So our question right now is a simple inquiry. Is this board interested in partnering with the City of Rapid City on development of our stormwater management plan? If you are, we would just ask a couple representatives to sit down with us. We could scope it. If there are costs involved, we would certainly bring that to this board and to the City Council for approval before we move forward. If there are no common interests that we can come to, that's fine too. We just thought it was a positive thing that met the mission of this board and also the mission of Rapid City. So other than that, I don't really have anything. This is Brandon Pyatt. He's the stormwater engineer for the city of Rapid City. So he's more of the technical expert for the city. Okay?
Thank you. Dan, were you asking the Bennington County to?
Sure, the county folks, Brittany Molitor and Cody, I forget your last name. Anyhow, if I see this as having relevance to the county planning and zoning group, and Brittany and Cody, we're going to address that aspect.
Yes. So our MS4 is mostly in the Rapid Valley area. So that is in the city's stream-out planning jurisdiction. And in the past, we have adopted the city's stormwater manual, and we've worked together on our stormwater management plans just because we're kind of intertwined with our planning jurisdiction. Our contractors are similar that work in the city and the county, so that's why we try to be a more uniform, I guess, in our criteria, so it's not confusing, I guess, for contractors and citizens. And we don't have a stormwater utility at all, so everything that's done through our stormwater program is done through our.
Could you come up here and speak into the microphone, so we're recording this, so we can't hear you.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, get up a little closer. There you go.
Most of the funding that we get is through our building permits, and then it's funded through our highway department. Our highway department has a drainage engineer, so that's kind of where we work together with our highway department and the planning department work together in our stormwater plan and infrastructure. So I'll entertain any questions. Sure.
Do you work with Hill City?
We do not. We have just begun. I know our ordinance enforcement officer has been working with, they have a planning staff and ordinance enforcement person up there. I know there has been some discussions about them having their plating jurisdiction, so that definitely would be something that we could consider. As part of the Spring Creek project, the city of Hill City stormwater, there's a lot of stormwater stuff done in Hill City, in and around Hill City.
How about Keystone or Wall?
No.
So you just work the rural area or just the valley?
When we look at the MS4 area, it's designated what the EPA considers urbanized, and it's typically 1,000 people per square mile. So there's only certain portions of Pennington County that are in that MS4. It's the Rapid Valley area, Universal Drive, and then out on Sheridan Lake Road in the countryside area.
Okay.
So.
Nathan?
Do you have another question?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Not for you, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Just so everyone's aware, this taxing entity is not a city entity. We have to also represent Hill City, Keystone, Wall, and all the rural areas in between. And my other question for Dan Kuhn would be, of those 42 claims you got, how many did the city pay?
I'm not aware of how many we paid. I don't know.
I'm not aware of one. And they all filed legal claims with the city, with a city claims process that promised to pay.
Nathan?
So when I first read the letter that was in the packet here, it was unclear to me as far as what we were talking about. Listening to Mr. Kuhn, it sounds like, at least to begin with, you're just looking for what you said was a partnership, I guess, where we would get together and look at what your needs were, and then if there were costs associated with that down the road, we would address that at that time. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
So basically, there's no cost associated with what we're looking at right now?
Not right now, no.
Okay. How about the county? Is there a cost associated with what you're looking for from the board right now? Good.
Ron?
I just had a question in terms of protocol. Did we get a second to Director Driscoll's motion for discussion?
I second it.
Okay, okay, good. Great. That's it.
Dan? I
Yes,
got one
James.
final comment. If it was up to me and me alone, based on the water department's lack of integrity, especially when they told insurance agencies that several of these homes had never flooded before, when they flooded 5 times in the last 15 years, I would deny you even the time of day of coming in the door. Because what it's proven to me is that your engineers and your staff couldn't tell the truth to save their life. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question for Mr. Kuhn.
Sure.
When was the last update of the plan done?
I'd have to look
For-
for it, approximately 2008.
Okay.
2008, did you say? You know, as Dan said, we met with the city a couple of times talking about things that we could possibly partner with. And, to me, the biggest item that's in our mission statement is maintaining water quality in these drainages, and specifically Rapid Creek, which is our water supply. And there are some projects that they're looking at down the road that would address water quality. They've done some along Rapid Creek in town. If you go along Rapid Creek, Founders Park area, west and east of there, they've done some work there. But there's some of these drainages that come into the city that actually are in the county, as you mentioned. So it takes a partnership to address that. And I know the drainage, basically, for example, that goes through Chapel Valley, when there's a high runoff, it's running. There's a lot of silt coming right straight into Canyon Lake, and so that's one of the reasons it fills up fast. And so these are the kind of things that I'd be interested in, having discussions with the city and the county about water quality, maintaining good water quality in our receiving streams. Go ahead, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, thanks for your presentation. I'm interested in, is there any way to reduce the amount of stormwater running off personal property that's going to be looked at all?
Again, we defer to Brett. Our stormwater management plan is multifaceted in all realms of stormwater, including regulations requiring what improvements are required for the building permit with the subdivision. So yeah, in short, it also includes public outreach, it includes our erosion sediment control system. So it's really, stormwater management plan for the city of Rapid City encompasses everything stormwater related. I think the only thing before you today is, would you guys be interested in working on updating this plan? And your approval of parts of it, all of it, half of it, that's to come later. But yeah, the city's stormwater management plan does address runoff from private property.
Are there mechanisms involved that, like a resident has a large portion of land and he wants to create a catchment for
Retention
that
management.
land on his property? Does the city have programs that allow what is actually entailed so they could actually eliminate that tax?
To eliminate the stormwater.
Stormwater runoff tax.
Not currently. There's no exemptions currently.
Is there a possibility of exemption? If we worked with the planning and we created an environment where the stormwater that comes off your land is captured, and is there a threshold? How much water would have to leave your land per square, per acre to have any effect at all?
Yeah, I'm not sure I can answer that.
Okay, thanks.
Steve, did you have a question?
No, I have a question. I just want to thank the city and the county for coming to us and wanting to include us in the planning, which I think is only good for us to be part of that. I think you said it right. Some of it meets our mission statement. And for us to be part of it, I thought I want to thank you for coming here and asking us to be part of the process. I think on their part that was pretty good. They came to ask us to be part of the process. It seems like appropriate that we go forward and put some people on there to be part of the planning process.
Thank you.
For our residents, that might make sense.
Is there any more discussion? Nathan?
I was just going to comment, like I have in the past, I guess, that typically, well, from my perspective, I don't think our job here is to go out and hustle up projects. So, however, it doesn't sound like you're looking for that directly from us here. Right now, you're looking for time, it sounds like, from directors to work with you on a stormwater management plan update. And then down the road, you're probably going to be looking for a project, some kind of funding. Okay.
Yes, that's accurate
Good.
description.
So it seems, I guess, we're all, our perspectives are all a function of the paths that we've walked in life, and in my path, I've sat in many meetings as a former federal engineer where we had federal agencies that were actively trying to gin up interest in spending federal dollars. Corps of Engineers comes to mind. They were famous for that, going into communities and trying to basically sell their services to a community because they needed to spend money. And I don't think that's what we should be doing. I think we do a disservice to the taxpayer by going out and trying to find ways to spend money. We should be trying to fund projects that come before us that people have identified a need for. So philosophically, I guess that's how I look at that. I personally don't have a problem, with directors being involved in something there. And if that's the case, I'm an engineer. I wouldn't mind being involved in something there myself. But like I said, my personal philosophy on that is that's not what we should be doing. I don't think we should be running out trying to gin up interest in spending taxpayer dollars.
Something to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand what Dave is saying, but this is not running out looking for some, I was on the city council, we had a huge problem when I was on there for stormwater. Dan would come to us about it. So basically, they're coming to us saying, we've had, this issue's been here for a long time. We'd like your help as we do planning going forward. They've not asked for money. They've asked for help in planning on the issue that's been around for a long time, and the issue that affects our taxpayers. Stormwater. It's been since I was on city council. It's been a long time that they've had this issue. They're just asking for our help in coming up with a solution. And that solution may involve some money at some point in time. In the meantime, they're asking us to brainstorm with them and come up with a solution that's been there for a long time. Our residents have been facing this for a long time. They're asking for our help is all they're doing. I think we should be part of the process. And again, I thank them for coming forward and asking for us to be part of the solution.
Okay. Dan, did you have something?
I'd just like to comment in response to Director Jovic's comment, inquiry, to clarify that what we are proposing is that we would work directly with the city staff to come up with a proposal on how we would partner with them on this update to their stormwater management plan.
Okay. We're ready to get more comments.
And is that including the funding of the project, or?
Right. I would anticipate that we would come forward saying this would be a proposal for West Dakota to participate financially.
And it would come back to the board.
Right. It would have to come back to the board, but we would just work with them on details of how we would, propose to partner with them.
Is there going to be any limit on the number of board members that can join them when they come for questions or
as far as
making proposals?
When you complete the stormwater management plan, I mean, you present it to the Public Works Committee or to the public at some point, right?
It's a public document.
Yeah, it's a public document, so there would be. You can come back here and give a report. I guess when you complete it, or an interim report as you proceed, sure, to give the board an update.
Sure. I'm like Nathan and Director Driscoll in that I have a history with planning. It was regional planning, but what I'm concerned is that we have too many people come to the meeting, and we have to have a meeting. you know, the 4-person rule. I mean, that's what I'm.
I guess I'm not exactly sure what.
No, I mean, if I volunteer, Dan volunteers, maybe Jovic, Director Jovic volunteers, you know, that's 3 at least. And if we get too many, we have that meeting.
We're suggesting that Director Driscoll and I.
Well, that'd be 4 then, right?
No.
5,
Well,
that'd be 5.
you're not going to exclude other people, are you?
Well, I don't know.
That was just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, we're just
and
to
you
get the-
two
Yeah,
initiate the
go ahead,
discussion.
The letter on the top of page 19 would specifically designate Director Bierke and myself to work with the city on this. They had asked us to designate a director or 2, and they would like to have a small group. So, you know, my motion is specific to the draft letter there that I have suggested, that we would be the designated entities, but this would then come back to the full board once we have a proposal to basically vote on where we would go with this.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I find it just flabbergasting that a member of this board would try to exclude other members that are interested in going, others with equal experience. I don't think it's appropriate, and I dare say it probably breaks meeting law by disallowing certain members of the board that are interested in going to go. It just seems very odd at best. And let's keep in mind, the city of Rapid itself built sewer systems and repaired them before this taxing entity started in 2013. And since 2014, that's 6 years this year, we'll have collected more than $12 million for replacement of sewer lines and stormwater that city taxpayers have paid both in their property taxes, sales taxes, and now with a special assessment tax that, since it's a Title IX, even nonprofits are not exempt from. And then to come here and suggest, let's take your money, but we're only going to take 2 board members with us to tell you how much money we're going to take before they come back, is a slap in every taxpayer's face.
This document is a planning document.
Right, but it's specifically limiting which directors get to go.
We did not request specific directors. The language in the letter is please designate people we can work with, and that was the only request we made.
Tom?
I would like to propose a substitute motion. I would like to move that we have a committee, no more than 4, for the possible, looking at the proposal that the city of Rapid City's stormwater drainage project, with no authority to propose funding until the proposal is put in front of the full board.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Who seconded it?
Me.
Nathan. Okay, discussion on the substitute motion.
We keep talking about the 4 rule. The 4 rule doesn't apply if you can send everybody there. If you're not discussing business or
Well, this would be business.
you can be there to
Talking
work
about
on a
tax
project. If you're not discussing the business of the water board, there is no 4-person rule. You guys need to call Pierre and talk to him about that. It's come up several times. And it doesn't. If you're allowed to go to a meeting and in planning session or whatever, we can all be there.
Well, this would be specific meeting
We won't be
because
making,
it's on the
we making
agenda.
any motions that we're discussing here. That has to come back to the water board. You can't vote there for anything. It's got to come back here. But you can be there to help with the planning. If there's going to be any voting, it has to come back here. All pure, and they'll tell you. You have that 4-person comes up a lot. And it's overdone as long as you're not discussing business or having votes.
Well, any suggestion of taxpayer dollars would be discussing business
If you're not
to bring
voting
back
on
to the
it,
full
doesn't.
board.
Are you gonna make a motion, have a vote? I seriously doubt it. You can't do that unless you're here. with all of us. If you're just having a planning session, you're discussing possibilities, that has no bearing with four people.
Tom, are you suggesting there's 4 directors?
At maximum.
At
Or open-ended, so right now, it's kind of an open-ended committee to work with the city of Rapid City in the planning session, take in the information, but there is no approval for any funding apparatus. The city and the members would have to sponsor it like any other project to formally, they would have to formally propose like everybody else, like School of Mines or anything else, if there is a funding need, and we can go forward and give our opinion of how to move forward. Therefore, Mr. Jovic's concerns are taken over because it's not a blank check. They're not going to come back and say, the committee said this is what we're going to do and it's going to cost us $100,000 vote. Mr. Bialotta's concerns are addressed because it opens it up to have other people that have other experience to have it, and yet it still stays within the intent of the purpose of this, is showing interest and having input.
Okay.
I have a question, just to clarify it. So would his letter still hold, except just add 2 more names to it?
It should have been approved before the board first.
I would say that the letter put up, something else would probably have to be drafted. It could be used as a template, but not a formal acceptance.
Well, Dan and I have been working with him, but I would say if we just say the West Dakota Water Development Board will designate up to 4 representatives to work with the city staff. Would that meet what you're saying?
Yes.
I move to approve.
Well, there's already a motion on the floor, so we just...
Call the question.
Did I capture
We gotta get public comment.
what you, I put what I thought you were saying, but I want to make sure I get the motion. Pretty succinct.
Yeah, that's in the essence.
If any members of the public would
All
like
right.
to comment, Dan.
Is there any more discussion?
You should ask if there's any members from the public that'd like to comment.
Is there any members from the public that wants to comment?
Just a question, are you going to form this committee at the next meeting? And is this going to interfere with when the city wants to start this?
That's a good question. What is your schedule for this?
We don't have a firm schedule
Okay,
right
so-
right at this time. We're very flexible.
So we're, with our new schedule, we're not meeting in February, so the next meeting would be in March. And maybe we can just designate somebody too. But anyway, let's go ahead and vote on it. All in favor of the substitute motion as spelled out by Director Mack? And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
No.
James? Okay, roll call.
Okay, roll call on the substitute motion. Harris,
No.
Bialotta,
No.
Mack,
Aye.
Williams,
No?
Rollinger,
Aye.
Jovic,
Aye.
Driscoll,
No.
Bjorky,
Aye.
Code.
No.
Motion fails 5-4.
Okay.
Now do we
So then go back to the original motion of, as designated in the proposed letter to the city with Dan Driscoll and myself as representing the board. All in favor of that motion indicate by saying aye. By saying aye. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Roll call.
Roll call on the original motion. Bialotta,
No.
Mack,
Aye.
Williams,
No.
Rollinger,
Aye.
Jovic,
No.
Driscoll,
Aye.
Bierke,
Aye.
Coe,
Aye.
Harris.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-3.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a
Thanks for coming.
I have a point of order and question. I'd like to know how you guys met up in the first place without board approval to negotiate this ahead of time.
I'm interested in water quality and that, hey,
So you had a meeting with him and sent him a letter.
I didn't send him a letter.
There's already a letter. It says, in response to your letter dated December. I think you better read your own notes, which you didn't bring to the full board.
This letter is from the city to us, not my letter.
Right. So you got the letter,
This is the letter that they sent to me.
and they sent it to you, not to the board.
Well, I'm the chairman of the board.
Okay,
So
did they
that's
send
why-
it to the office?
Yeah. They sent it to the office, and I got it, and I put it on the agenda.
Why didn't you share it with us in December?
So, yeah, it was after the board meeting. That's what it is.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, let's move on to the next
Yeah,
agenda item.
I agree.
This
you
place for
ready
this.
a break?
I gotta call his old boss at some point.
How about this? Let's take a 10-minute break.